Wanjiku is the only person who can initiate popular initiative, and Wanjiku cannot be assisted by any state organ, but Wanjiku cannot go to the Supreme Court. How does Wanjiku get advice on whether what they want to change is basic structure or not? That is the conundrum. My lords, the second point, before I come to on history, submitted by my learned friend Mr. Paul Mwangi. Only 2 points, my lord. One is that an analysis of the history as given suggests that the history of our constitution making was a continuum, that from when it started to when we ended up with the Constitution of Kenya 2010, it was a continuous process. And therefore, the court indiscriminately refers to bits and pieces in that process without acknowledging that our constitution making was a disjointed process where at times the documents that were presented were rejected, including in a referendum in 2005. And therefore, when you refer to documents and arguments made before, you must be very careful, because you could be referring to things that were expressly rejected by Kenyans. And it is important to note, and Paul Mwangi pointed out this yesterday, that ultimately, in terms of construing the Constitution of Kenya 2010, the starting point ought to be the Constitution and the report of the Committee of Experts and the submissions thereof, because it's what resulted in the new Constitution. Many processes before that died at stillbirth or died at the hands of Kenyans. And you cannot easily refer to them as if they are what instructed the ultimate text of the Constitution. And the second and last point on it, my lord, is that the decision intentionally diminishes the role of political consensus and suggests that the document that we have was entirely a result of the decisions of Kenyans. My lord, just one example. Ultimately, the most contentious issue in constitution making was the system of government, the type of executive we are to have. And today, my lords, we have a presidential system, almost pure presidential system. My lords, as you will see in the report of the Committee of Experts, and I invite you to look at volume 4, page 1551, paragraph 6.1.5, and also page 1604, 8.1. My lord, it makes very clear, without having to read it right now, the Committee of Experts notes there that while the harmonized draft was inclined towards a parliamentary hybrid, the Parliamentary Select Committee, in its wisdom, decided to settle for a presidential system. The Committee of Experts, therefore, settled on that presidential system as a result of political compromise, not because the people of Kenya wanted it. That intentional diminishing of the role of political compromise therefore warps the history that is captured. Indeed, my lords will note that in that entire history, one of the organs that is not mentioned even once is the Parliamentary Select Committee on Constitution Making. And yet it was one of the organs of review in the 2008 Act, and it played a fundamental role in birthing the Constitution. Now, let me come back to popular initiative. I want to make some 7 quick points on this. Who are the promoters? My lord, we wish to submit on this that against all evidence, which was not controverted, that the promoters of this initiative was Honorable Dennis Waweru and Honorable Junet Mohammed. The court insists on finding that His Excellency President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta was the promoter of this initiative against all evidence. We want to submit categorically that the promoters of the popular initiative we are talking about in this case were the two gentlemen we have mentioned. But because anyone is allowed to support any person in this country, including the president, including this court, can support the initiative, in the words of Article 257. My lords, in the entire 315 pages of the judgment, the one thing the court does not do is take the bill that is being examined and come to the end of the bill, as is usually necessitated, and ask, and that is on page 42 of the bill, so who are described as the promoters? That is the one question the court does not pose. 315 pages. My lords, I invite you to look at volume 5, page 2116 to 2158, especially at page 2158. It clearly shows that it is an initiative, the Building Bridges Initiative. And the word initiative there is used because those are the words of Article 257. It's an initiative. My lord, it's an initiative promoted by Honorable Dennis Waweru and Honorable Junet Mohammed. To demonstrate that point, my lord, I invite